Sailors save drowning elephant. But what happens next is unbelievable. In the middle of the vast ocean, where nothing but waves and the horizon met the eye, a startling sight stopped a group of sailors in their tracks. A giant elephant, its body barely visible above the waves, thrashed helplessly, its trunk raised like a desperate call for help. The crew froze, disbelief etched on their faces, before rushing to take action. As ropes were cast and plans hastily formed, one question hung heavy in the air. How did an elephant end up here? Unaware of what lay ahead, the sailors braced for a rescue that would change their lives forever. The sailors worked against the clock, battling the restless waves as they tried to save the struggling elephant. With ropes in hand and shouts of coordination, they carefully maneuvered their boat closer, knowing one wrong move could spell disaster for both the animal and themselves. The elephant, exhausted and terrified, flailed in the water, making the rescue even more dangerous. As they managed to loop a rope around the elephant's massive body, the crew began pulling with all their strength, the boat creaking under the strain. Suddenly, one of the sailors noticed something peculiar. The elephant's movements seemed deliberate, almost as if it was pointing its trunk toward the horizon. "Is it trying to show us something?" someone asked, glancing nervously at the darkening clouds above. The question hung in the salty air as a strange noise echoed from the depths, sending a chill down everyone's spine. The true challenge was only beginning. As the sailors strained to stabilize the elephant, its movements grew more frantic, its trunk repeatedly pointing toward the open ocean. "It's not just scared," one sailor muttered. "It's trying to tell us something." The air felt heavier as the boat rocked against the rising waves. Suddenly, a haunting cry echoed from the distance, a deep, guttural sound that sent shivers through the crew. One of the sailors grabbed a pair of binoculars and scanned the horizon. His face turned pale as he shouted, "There's something out there!" Beyond the churning waters, a smaller shape bobbed in and out of the waves. It was another elephant, smaller and equally desperate, tangled in what looked like a massive fishing net. "We can't leave it!" the captain yelled, his voice firm despite the rising panic. The sailors quickly adjusted their course, splitting their efforts between keeping the first elephant steady and racing toward the second one. The larger elephant let out a loud trumpet, its eyes locked on the distant figure, as if urging the crew to move faster. As they neared the trapped elephant, they saw the full extent of the danger. The net was wrapped tightly around its legs and torso, dragging it deeper with every passing moment. Two sailors donned life vests and jumped into the water, knives in hand, to cut the tangled ropes. The elephant thrashed violently, nearly pulling one of them under, but they held firm. Meanwhile, the larger elephant, still tethered to the boat, let out a thunderous roar that seemed to calm the smaller one, momentarily halting its panic. The sailors worked feverishly, slicing through the net as water splashed into their faces. Finally, with one last pull, the ropes snapped free, and the young elephant surfaced, gasping for air. The crew cheered, but their relief was short-lived. A distant, ominous shadow was now emerging beneath the waves, heading straight for them. The crew's celebration turned to dread as the dark shape beneath the water came into view. A massive shark circling the boat. The exhausted elephants huddled close to the vessel, their instincts sensing the imminent danger. "We need to move now," the captain shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. The sailors sprang into action, starting the engine and steering the boat toward shallower waters. The larger elephant, still tethered, moved with surprising coordination, as though understanding the urgency. The freed young elephant swam beside it, sticking close for protection. Suddenly, the shark lunged, its dorsal fin slicing through the water. The larger elephant spun around, letting out a deafening trumpet that echoed across the sea. With an immense splash, it swung its massive trunk, striking the water and sending waves toward the predator. The shark veered off, stunned, giving the boat just enough time to speed forward. The shallower waters proved to be their salvation. The shark hesitated at the reef's edge, circling briefly before disappearing into the depths. The elephants, now visibly calmer, swam closer to the shore. The sailors guided them to a safe spot where the animals could finally rest. As the elephants emerged from the water, the larger one turned back to the sailors, its eyes locking with theirs. It raised its trunk high, letting out a low, resonant sound that felt almost like gratitude. The crew stood in awe, their disbelief replaced by a profound sense of connection. That, one sailor whispered, was no ordinary rescue. The sailors watched in silence as the two elephants disappeared into the distance, their enormous forms now safe on solid ground. The larger elephant turned one last time, raising its trunk in what felt like a gesture of thanks before leading the younger one into the forest. The crew stood motionless, still processing the incredible series of events they had just witnessed. Back on the boat, the captain finally broke the silence. "We didn't just save them," he said, looking at his crew. "They saved us too." The memory of the larger elephant's courage, intelligence, and protective instincts left a lasting impression on everyone on board. The sailors returned to the shore with a story no one would believe until they saw the footage captured on the ship's cameras. As word spread, the tale of the sailors and the elephants became a symbol of the extraordinary connections between humans and animals and the importance of protecting wildlife. What would you have done if you were in the sailor's place? Have you ever seen animals display such intelligence and bravery? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories that remind us of the wonders of the natural world. Because sometimes, in the vastness of nature, the most unbelievable moments are the ones where humans and animals come together.